I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of the type of support that we offer here at Imperial. I will be touching on the government statutory support and the processes and how our support fits in with the assessments that they do. So we're starting off with talking about Student Finance England. For the purpose of this presentation, just need to let you know we have based all our figures and the processes on students who reside in England. For UK students, obviously there are 4 different governing bodies. Obviously you have SAS in Scotland, the Welsh Assembly and the Northern Ireland Board. And if anybody here does reside in those countries, I do have a separate handout that I can give to you after the presentation that will give you an idea of the type of support you can get from those awarding bodies. EU students, if we have any here, some of the support is available to you through Student Finance England, and I will touch on that briefly as well. We do have a financial support package here, which includes a bursary and some additional support costs towards your accommodation or maintenance costs. We have a tool called the Imperial Finance Calculator, which I will demonstrate and show how you can find that so that when you leave us today and you can't remember anything that I said, you'll be able to go in and find it all online. And we do have a number of scholarships here, which I will touch on at the end of the presentation. If you have any questions as I go along, please do feel free to raise a hand and let me know. Alternatively, I'll be happy to take questions at the end, or we do have a stall downstairs in the Queen's Lawn rooms if you'd like to come and talk to one of my colleagues down there. Cost of living in London, as I'm sure you're all aware, can be higher than it is for a lot of other places. So just to give you a very rough idea on average costs, and we've based this on using accommodation in a mid-range halls accommodation. So for undergraduate courses based on 39 weeks, it comes out at just over £11,000 a year. Now obviously that can go up or down depending on the lifestyle you choose to have whilst you're here studying. You could be in more expensive halls, you could choose to go out every single night and have much higher expenses, but just as an average, we take it to be around £11,000. I should say that this presentation is also available on the web, so if you wanted to have a look at it afterwards, you'll be able to see it. Tuition fees at Imperial College are £9,000, and that is for full-time undergraduate home and EU students. But for that, you can take out a tuition fee loan through Student Finance England. That is non-means tested, so it doesn't matter what your household income is. You can apply for a loan for the full amount or for part of it if you don't want to take the whole amount. But there's no income assessment required for that. You can go for the full 9,000. So once you've applied for that, you can forget about it. Once you've had your approval through for your funding, they would liaise then directly with the college, pay your tuition fees for that year, and you don't have to worry about that again. So in a way, although it is a loan you're having to take out, it's one thing you don't have to worry about again until you have to reapply for your second year. For maintenance loans through Student Finance England, the London rates is 7675 if you're living in halls accommodation and 4375 if you're living at home. 65% of that is non-means tested. So again, if you don't want to go through a means testing assessment with Student Finance England, you can apply for 65% and you would get that no matter what the household income is. However, if you want to go for the full 100% maintenance loan, for the extra 35%, you would have to have an income assessment done. There are other additional allowances, such as disability allowances, etc., that you can get through the government that would help to supplement should you be eligible for those. With the loans, you don't pay them back until after you have finished your degree and you are earning £21,000. So once you leave college, if you go into a job that pays less than that, then obviously you don't pay anything back. As soon as you reach that £21,000 threshold, you would then start paying it back on the difference between what you're earning and £21,000. So the example that we've given here, between 21 and 25, you would be paying £30 a month. In previous fee regimes, you used to be able to defer your loan, but under the existing arrangements, that's no longer an option. So just in case you had any siblings or anyone else you know that has had that option, unfortunately that is not available anymore. And if after 30 years you haven't paid the whole loan back, then any amount outstanding, whatever the percentage, 100% or just part of it, is written off. You'll come across a lot of jargon. It'll vary according to institution, which institution you're going along to, so various open days will use different terminology. But really, if you just remember, anything that ends in the words loan, you're going to have to pay back. Anything that is a grant, bursary, scholarship, studentship, you get to keep. The maintenance grant is a separate thing that you can apply for, and that is fully means tested. Again, this is through Student Finance England. And as you can see here, it is on a sliding scale, so depending on your income will depend on what you receive. And starting at the bottom there, if your income is lower than £25,000, the full grant of £3,354 would be paid. And again, it's a grant, so you get to keep it, you don't have to pay that money back. And then going on up, the government caps its assessment for funding at £42,611. So provided your residual household income is between zero and that amount, you would get a grant. Anything over that, you would not be eligible. So just to give you an idea here, as I said, the government caps their assessment at £42,611, for which you could get your tuition fee loan and maintenance support. But at Imperial, we recognise that it is a lot more expensive to study in London. So we've actually got our own Imperial package, and that is capped at £60,000. And for that, we offer a bursary, accommodation fee waiver, or other form of service discount. So although the government is capped at that lower rate, if you apply for a full means tested assessment, even if your earnings are over the 42,611, if it's under 60,000, we would advise you to still go for a means tested assessment. By doing that, your information is then passed to us, provided you've given your consent to share, and we will automatically then apply the Imperial College financial support package. You don't need to apply for it separately. Once we receive information about your residual household income, we will then send you information about what you would qualify for. So there's no application process for it. So the Imperial College financial support package is shown here. We have various bands. So again, as you can see, it depends on where that falls with your income. If we take the lowest as an example to start with, so if your income is lower than £25,000, you would get the full package of £6,000. In your first year, that would be paid as a £1,000 cash bursary and a £5,000 service discount. If you're staying in halls accommodation, that service discount would be in the form of an accommodation fee waiver, so it would automatically come off the cost of your accommodation at college. If you choose not to live in halls and you live elsewhere in London or wherever that may be, you would get the £5,000 as a tuition fee waiver. So then obviously that would come off your tuition fee liability. You would have already applied probably to Student Finance England for the full tuition fee loan, so we would then notify Student Finance England that we've given you that £5,000 bursary discount, and they would then reduce your tuition fee loan. You don't need to do anything, we would notify them on your behalf. You do have to apply for your funding every year. Obviously your circumstances can change, and Student Finance England need to know that you are still a student. But in subsequent years, we don't stop paying you our bursary package. We would then give it to you as a full bursary. So in the first year, there's a government requirement on institutions to not give any more than £1,000 in cash. But in subsequent years, we can choose to give that in any way we like. So at Imperial, we've decided to give you the full amount. So again, if you're in £25,000 or less bracket, you would get £6,000 bursary, and that would be paid to you as monthly instalments across the academic year, straight into your bank account. And as you can see there, we go right up to the £60,000. So in the higher bracket, £55,001 to £60,000, you would still get a £900 bursary, although you would not get any service discount. But if you were to compare this with a lot of other of our competitive institutions, a lot of them don't offer anything beyond the second year, and many of them don't go up to that level of funding. I do need to point out at this point that if we do have anybody here from Wales and you reside in Wales, we're not able to give a tuition fee waiver to Welsh students. because of the fee regime that they have there through the Welsh Assembly. But I do have, as I say, some literature down the front that I can give you about that. But we can give you the accommodation fee waiver. It's just the tuition fee waiver we can't give. We have a tool called the calculator, which if I click on that and go to our page, you can see here, all you have to do on this is put in some very basic information. So as an example, if I was to put in here that residual household income, for example, is £36,000, and you weren't doing a medical course. If we have anybody here interested in medicine, it does vary slightly according to which medicine course you're on because of the supplementary NHS bursary package. I'll just quickly run through these. So if I say that you are staying in other accommodation, and that is halls, I'll say no to everything else. If you go to calculate, it will then return this information for you. So as you can see, on this occasion, you're eligible to apply to Student Finance England for the £9,000 tuition fee waiver. Loan, beg your pardon. But for the Imperial College package, you would get the £1,000 bursary. And as we indicated that this person was going to be staying in halls, they'd also get £2,800 accommodation fee waiver. They're eligible to apply for government means tested maintenance grant of 1290 and the government means tested maintenance loan of 7030. So in total, in year one, that's support package of £12,120. So that's quite a sizable amount of support that that person would be entitled to.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yes.
Did it say gross income on the first page? Did it say residual income?
Oh, I beg your pardon. It's residual, is
Right,
what
does
it's
it actually
based
stay
on.
on the slide gross?
Okay, I beg your pardon. I'll go back and have a look at that. You can also on there request for that information to be emailed to you and put your email information in there, and that will be sent to you, and then you can keep that for your records. If we have anybody who is self-employed and for whatever reason your income changes drastically once you started at the college, you can apply for a current year assessment and have that reassessed. You don't have to suffer for a whole year. So if your income should drop dramatically, that's for anybody, not just for self-employed, but we do find it's more relevant to them. You can apply for a current year assessment once you've actually started, and they will then do a new assessment, and then your type of funding would be reassessed and be paid accordingly. We do offer a number of scholarships as well at college. Some of them are actually based again on residual household income along with your academic history, and others are based on purely on academic merit. If you have a look on our web pages, you could have a guide on what's available for the coming session, and they will be very similar going into 14-15. They haven't been confirmed at this point in time, but please do have a look on there just to see the type of thing that we are offering. They do vary according to which particular department you might be studying in. A lot of them are given by external donors, and they do stipulate that they have to be for people studying and maybe specific subject areas. So really, just to give you an overview, Imperial's tuition fees are £9,000. You can get the fee, the loan for that for the fee, so there is no immediate liability on you. That's paid directly to college. You don't have to fund that money. On the maintenance side, if you earn under £25,000 a year, then without the scholarship you could have income support coming into you of £17,029. And if it's above the 42,600 level of the government, we would still offer you the Imperial Financial Support Package, which could be up to £3,100. Once you're at college, you've made all the provision you think you needed to, you've come along, you think you're going to be fine, and then you have a financial emergency. We do also have two funds at college. One is the Access to Learning Fund, which is for home students. And we have a college hardship fund, which is for EU and overseas students. So our help towards any problems you may have financially don't stop once you've actually got your assessments through and you're here. If you find yourself in having problems with your maintenance for whatever reason, you can apply to one of these funds and you would be assessed to see if we could give you some funding to help you through the rest of the financial year. It isn't guaranteed. It is based on the number of items that you have to send us, like bank accounts, bank statements, etc. But we do give out quite a bit of money over the year to students who are actually in financial need. You don't have to pay that money back.